You know, I try my best not to discriminate on this channel, and I simply review what is new out and comes to hand. Sometimes it feels like Glock have realised this and bring a new one out every other week, to the great joy of most and the complete frustration of others. It often seems like the big names in PCPs do the same by tarting up existing rifles and calling them limited editions. And of course, halfway around the world, the factories in China have their production staff working overtime. Some of it really good and some not so good. Then quite discreetly BSA brings out the BSA R10 regulated. Hello and welcome to AAR on Air. The moment I picked this up, I got that patriotic, warm feeling inside, mixed with that familiarity of being home, and the sense of joy when I go to the gun cabinet for my personal BSA R10 Mark II FAC, which they will need to pry from the death grips of my corpse for me to give it up. BSA, in spite of being taken over by the Spanish company Gamo, are still able to maintain that traditional English quality build feel of a bygone time, and yet discreetly hiding 21st century adaptations. I must say right from the start, I use and test lots of airguns, from ultra low budget to the really silly expensive ones. But there are only a limited few that have me instantly feeling this way about a rifle. So yes, you're probably starting to think I like this gun. Yes, you'd be right. But don't forget these initial feelings put it on a pedestal, so to speak. And it's easier to fall off and not meet those expectations than it is to stay up there. So this has potentially got its work cut out. Let's get to the price bit first and get it out the way. This basically comes in at a shilling off £1,000 UK. And if you were born before 1972, you'll know what I mean. Well, I heard my parents use the term. Now, £1,000 isn't an insignificant amount of money, but this is where relativity comes into play, because you could pick up a PCP for £500. So is this twice as good? Then again, you could pay £2,000 plus. So is it only half as good as that one? Well, let's start with the usual walk around, shall we? It is 125 centimetres long, which is 49.2 inches, has a 38.1 centimetre or 15-inch barrel, and weighs a really nice usable 3.66 kilograms. The first thing to point out is the beautiful Manelli walnut thumb hole stock. It is a quality finished item, as you would expect from Manelli. From blending the colours at the front through the grippy, beautiful stippling in front of the curved entry to the trigger guard, then onto the thicker grip. And even though this is a thumbhole design, they have maintained an ambidextrous stock with the ability to shoot thumbs up from either side, left or right-handed. Moving back to the butt end, we find the black adjustable rubberized cheek piece. And whilst there will always be the lovers and haters of this mix of black and wood on one gun, it does lend itself to a very comfortable rest. The rear also has a multi-adjustable butt piece, again to help find that sweet spot of comfort. The stock also comes with quality swivels pre-fitted, which again is a really nice touch. At this point, I must state my only gripe with my R10. The gauge and filler port on the underside of this forestock on its own isn't a problem. But when they're forward thinking enough to fit swivel studs, you'd have thought they would have also been forward thinking enough that people are going to use a bipod on this. And if you fit a fairly standard bipod, then the filler port is pretty much blocked off, and you'll need to remove the bipod every time you want to fill the gun, which is not ideal. And of course, there is a workaround, which in my case simply involved a little patience and a grinder. And before anyone starts, that's grinder with an E. Out from the front of the stock is the bottle, which you can see is considerably larger than the old one. And don't forget, this is an FAC version. So shot count is not high. But on the new version is 340 in .22 and 280 in .177, which is surely enough for a day's shooting. As is usual with BSA, the bottle is filled to a maximum 232 bar and is also stated quite clearly on the gauge. The 10th anniversary edition also comes with a shrouded barrel, and if you're not happy with that, it also comes complete with the option and the kit to return it to a non-shrouded item. I feel a DB test coming. So, shroud on gave 88 decibels, and shroud removed gave 92 decibels. I did try it with a higher quality non-BSA silencer, and it didn't get as quiet as using the BSA shroud in place. So, the choice is yours really, shroud or non-shroud. It uses the familiar BSA Gammo colour-coded magazines, and you get 2 of these with the gun. And I've used these loads and loads of times and never had any issue at all. They are, pardon the pun, bulletproof, and simplicity itself. I love simple, reliable magazines. 10 rounds in here, and it slots so discreetly into the breech. And it's locked into place with the retaining slide at the front. It also has a white dot on the back of the magazine to show you when you've got your last shot. Loading this is a simple turn and drop, turn and drop. And once you've actually put a pellet in, it stops it from going all the way back again. So all you've got to do is just turn it the one hole and it locks itself into place. Really nice and simple and easy to use, and it's even numbered on the top as well. The safety is both simple, sure-footed and clearly marked, and can be pushed forward with your thumb when you're ready to fire. The bolt is very traditional and has been painted black on this one, as opposed to the bright polish finish on the Mark II. Personally, I prefer the polished metal look, but that is just my opinion. The 2-stage adjustable trigger is a dream, and the distance from the grip to finger fits me perfectly, and my distal phalange, so to speak, is perfectly suited to this adjustable trigger blade. You know, I've been using this a while and couldn't understand why this wasn't called the R10 Mark II TH, thumb hole regulated. But then I realised that someone in the marketing company somewhere has been paid a lot of money to come up with the idea of the R10th for the 10th anniversary of the BSA. Time to talk power now then. So it's chrono time. I did actually weigh the pellets this time and get my chrono checked against a calibrated one. And whilst mine was reading very, very slightly higher on the FPS, it was consistent. So 8.4 grain weighed JSBs gave a spread of only 4 feet per second and an average of 781 feet per second, which is 11.38 foot-pounds or 15.43 joules. So pretty impressive on the regulator side, and about what you would expect from a sub 12 foot-pound UK spec gun. Companies do like to leave a little leeway to protect you from the old bill. Target work then. Here was where this could go horribly wrong, because my Mark II is one of the most accurate guns I possess. Here goes. Now that was a relief. Nice results and consistent with it too. Great fun. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and considering that was the morning after a very good night, if you know what I mean, then I'm really pleased. Just to make it more real world, so to speak, I was so confident that I was prepared to put money on it. Again, out at 40 metres. That tells me that this is very capable for pest control. No problems. Okay, so conclusion time. Have they improved this one? Yes, they have. It has the larger bottle for greater shot count, an improved stock, that removable shroud option, and of course the regulator. It even comes in a pretty good quality hard case as well. At the same time, they've taken nothing away from it, keeping all the things that work perfectly, like the magazine, trigger and the action. Okay, so there's that niggle around the bipod fitting, but that is easily remedied. I love the walnut stock, but I could probably be tempted to go for the black pepper finish. So at £1,000 UK retail, is it twice as good as, say, a £500 PCP? Personally, with this quality feel, I would say yes. And more than that, I would say it's as good, if not better, than a lot of the £2,000 plus ones. When I first picked this up, I was excited and also a little concerned. Concerned that they hadn't taken a superb gun and removed its soul. But they haven't. It really is a wonderful gun. And I still have that patriotic feel, I'm pleased to say. Thank you, BSA, and well done, guys. I've really enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Release this. Warm feeling and the sense of joy when I got to the gun cabinet for the personal BSA R10th for entry of the trigger guard. I'm just blah blah. Moving back to the butt end, we find the black adjustable rubberized chickpeas. Nice. Got chickpeas in it. Moving back to the butt end, we find the black adjustable rubberized chickpiece. I've done it again. Moving back to the butt end, we find the black adjustable rubberized cheek piece.